Melanie Sutrathala.
Hari Bayani.
My name is Justin Leong.
Warren Lee.
My name is Sarah Diane Mueller.
My name is Marie Correa, and I'm a filmmaker.
My name is Matt Manalo. I'm an artist and a community organizer.
Hi, my name is Kay Chang, and I am from Oakland, California. I am a stand-up comedian and a comedy writer.
Hi, I'm Catherine Raz. Everyone calls me Kay. I'm the owner of Lady K Productions, as well as multiple other film companies here in Chicagoland.
My hobby is writing a script. It's about a monster bounty hunter who runs up against an Asian monster bounty hunter.
I'm an independent film composer and singer-songwriter, graduated from Berklee College of Music.
I started off this industry as an actress, but more recent years I've started delving into more behind-the-scenes work such as writing and producing.
So I call myself a Renaissance man. I have several disciplines that I'm into, namely music, acting, and visual arts. I'm a calligrapher and a painter, but I would say my main modality is as a musician. I play several different instruments.
I'm the author of 2 books. The first one is called Greater Than the Still, which is a contemporary fiction novel. The second one is called Home in 100 Places, which is a historical fiction novel.
I am a digital comic artist. My comic's called The Fugly Dumpling. It has to do with an Asian cuisine, so it has ties to my Asian roots. But it's also nice happenstance because they're little white blobs, and I can draw that. I can manage that at least, and people seem to like it. So that I've been doing that for a year and a half. It's been growing quite nicely, but I think it's just a really nice escape for me, and it's a good balance with my day job.
What I like to say is music is my love and theater is my mistress because I love them both very much and very passionately. But my heart has always started with music, and then the kind of theater that I do and then the kind of theater I'm most drawn to are musicals. So and then they're both mediums that are performed on a stage. So they both mean a lot to me. But I would say first and foremost, I'm a musician.
What does drive me is the sense of fun, this sense of exploration, the sense of, hey, you work a 9-to-5 humdrum life, and, let's let you be fabulous, just fantastic for maybe a couple of hours on screen.
When I'm not on a film set, film production, not making TikTok videos, I am continuously working and developing my craft. I am just being creative and finding ways to make sure that I am expressing myself in a way that brings joy to me. And that's honestly really probably the most important thing as an artist. What
really motivates me is the connection that I get with my audience. And I think a lot of folks, especially during COVID, are feeling very isolated. I feel like if a lot of my readers are like myself, then it can feel very, very isolating and very demoralizing when you're alone all the time. And so I think connecting with my audience and telling these jokes and being able to help people get through their days a little bit better, it makes me feel like I'm using my time very wisely, and it's doing something that I've always wanted to do since I was a kid. So maybe not the most direct answer to that question, but I don't know, it just makes me really happy to connect with other people and do something that I always dreamed of doing. So
what motivates me as an artist is really the laughter. During the shutdowns, I was running a virtual show. And eventually a regular from the virtual show came to one of my live shows and told me that we helped him get through the pandemic. And comedy often feels like a mental endurance test. How much bombing and jealousy and rejection am I willing to take? But little moments like this are all the fuel that I need to help me through this marathon.
It's now more than just a way for me to be fit, because that's one of the main reasons why I took up dance in the first place, was just to be fit, just to be physically active. But now seeing the different styles and all the performances that I got to be in over the past several years has really inspired me to be more selective and be more creative when it comes to dance. And then same goes with the cosplay community. I have a lot of talented friends who who make their own cosplays, and I learn a lot from them too in terms of like skills, craftsmanship, and everything in between. So
the way that I am able to tell my story of my journey being an artist here, as a first generation immigrant, and being able to share that story across cultures, across different languages, across different histories, is what really motivates me. Being able to just play in my studio and create things where I feel at home with. And I use a lot of my intuition when I'm making work, so whatever feels right for me, and doing that brings me such a great feeling of satisfaction and happiness in my own practice.
It's just a freedom of expression. It's the way I openly express myself. It's something I think that comes natural to me, and writing just has always been a part of my life. If I was ever feeling emotional or stressed or happy, anytime I just had a random story to write, I would just have to sit down and write it. So for me, storytelling and writing, becoming an author is just something that comes pretty natural to me.
For me, it's about expression and connection. Expression because I think it's safe to say that artists, we're all very deep feeling people, and I feel things so deeply all the time, from across the spectrum of feelings, good and bad, and they can get so intense that my way of processing them, one of the beautiful ways of processing them has been through art, whether it's writing music or singing or playing piano or writing dialogue for theater. And then the other reason is absolutely connection. I have found when starting from when I was a little girl, I would always just write to like process things intellectually or emotionally. But then when I started putting my things out there, whether it was from just reading something I wrote in front of my classmates at school to starting to sing songs and getting them recorded and having people hear it, and then they would just say how much it meant for them to hear that thing expressed. And then particularly when it came to things like identity, like representing queerness, representing people of color, representing Filipinos, representing women, just the reaction and the connection and the healing that I saw that it created, it's become a huge motivator for me to write stories that resonate with people across all of those lines.
I've always had to deal with the idea of being Asian but not being too Asian, or being someone of color but being a little too much of color in a lot of instances. I've felt throughout my career that I'm almost always the diversity hire, the one who is hired because I look a certain way but I don't speak a certain way, which is something that has always been really tough to deal with.
Was finding roles that would fit me. There just were not enough, there still aren't enough roles for Asian American artists. Now here in Hawaii, I face a different challenge. I look like the locals, but I'm not yet quite local. I've only been here for less than 4 years, so I'm still learning, I'm still adapting.
Something that I definitely feel I've had to overcome in this industry as an artist is what people believe an Asian American story is. And it's not what they always think. I grew up when it was like kung fu or a victim or like massage parlor girl or nail tech. And it's amazing how small that perspective is. Asians come and can be all over the world and have different stories. And it's really not about what makes us Asian sometimes, but really what makes us human. And it's those stories that I think people are really lacking.
As an Asian American artist, I'm better off at some genres compared to the other. For example, people might think that I'm better at orchestral stuff, very emotional, very ballad-like, or very dramatic, like K-drama style, which is definitely a barrier for me because instead of thinking me as a versatile composer, that limits the range of work that I will be able to work on.
So that was definitely one of the biggest challenges, was family support. It was what it's funny though, because my parents thought of me cosplaying, as just, okay, it's just a simple hobby, and it's just like a thing I go to every couple years, and then that's it. They thought that, okay, I would just grow out of it, because I went to my first series of conventions when I was 17, and then I've been going to more and more conventions through college and in post college, and then my parents realized, oh, he's not gonna stop. Why is he not stopping? He keeps going to these conventions. And like, because for me, it's a lot of it is which a lot of people don't know within the cosplay community, is a lot it's you make a lot of new friends, networking, because you meet with other creators who are in the same industry as you, and
Sure.
then you get to learn from them, they get to learn from you a little bit, and then you just help each other grow at the end of the day.
So as an actress, I do have to compete with a lot of different individuals out there, and rejection can be difficult to handle sometimes. However, I do understand that I don't always look the way that the casting director envisions for a particular role, and that's okay.
When I first started as an artist, uh, it was very tough for me because I didn't know anyone who I could reach out to or be mentored by, um, or be in community with people who looked like me. And it was difficult. I had to do a lot of things by myself. I had to, um, apply to a lot of things without any guidance, like open calls or exhibitions, or trade shows and stuff like that. And not being able to find anyone or talk to who was older than me, or who had more experience, being an Asian artist.
It'd be nice to have some more role models in the Asian American space, especially in the comic space. I don't know of really any. So um, a lot of what I've had to do is just try to learn it on my own. And I know I'm doing things really inefficiently because I keep finding things that I'm like, oh, I wasted like a week learning this thing when I could have been doing something else. It'd be really nice to have some kind of mentor or something that knew this better than I did. But at least within my bubble in my comic space, maybe the next time someone comes up or I discover them or they're younger than I am, I can be that mentor for them. So I think the lack of uh, just someone to look up to is an obstacle for sure, as an Asian American comic artist. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I feel like that's a big one.
And my skinniest, you could put one hand on my chest and one hand on my back, and if you squeeze, you would feel your other hand. Do you know what it's like to be a man with thigh gap? K. Chang does, all right?
I find it challenging, and that's one of the reasons why we started the Philippine X Artists of Houston, which is a collective that we started in 2019, along with the help of Bridget Bray, who's the head curator of Asia Society of Texas. And yeah, we wanted to have community. We wanted to be able to mentor younger Filipino artists, and we wanted to bring everyone, give everyone access, basically, and be able to also allow growth and have that conversation in the arts, especially for Filipinos, because we are always expected to be, in another professional field other than being artists.
I'm very grateful that my artistic discipline is providing a relatively objective medium for me, that people are more focused on my work and my music is speaking for me.
Luckily, I actually haven't faced a lot of barriers in my career so far. If anything, it's kind of been the reverse. a lot of people have actually been really interested in my Asian heritage and just my heritage in general, because I am mixed, Jewish, Egyptian, and Filipino. So I think for the most part, I've actually, you know, gained a lot of support, especially in the Asian community, for the work that I do and, you know, being a creative and expressing myself. So far, luckily, no barriers. I've been fortunate enough to not experience that, and hopefully that'll continue, not just for me, but for the Asian community as a whole.
But I feel very grateful that over the past 5+ years of my career, I've really started to see a shift in a lot of castings for actors. They're specifically looking for someone who is of mixed ethnicity and mixed heritage, someone who looks a little different than the average white leading lady. So I do feel like things are changing, and hopefully I get to be a part of that change.
Yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity, just for me to share my story as an Asian American artist, and we're just sharing it out there with the public, and I'm really hoping to inspire the next generation of young Asian American artists as well.